Android and iPhone users welcome. BlackBerry and Windows Phone users, we will accept you. The podcast going beyond the headlines. This is the GooplyCast. Now the host, Matthew Carter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GooplyCast. If you're listening to us as a podcast, you're coming to hang out with us live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube on Monday nights just after 8 p.m. PST. Or if you'd like to listen to us on the go, catch us after our live show on your favorite Android or iOS podcasting apps, as well as iHeartRadio.com. I'm your host, Matt Carter. With me today is Matt Evans, our resident Star Wars expert. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Also, we've got Roy Czlapinski, who's got that new mic. Hey, Roy.
Actually, it's not new. I've had this like the entire time that we've been podcasting. This is just the first time you've been able to see it in frame.
Oh, my goodness. Awesome. And Tim, with his amazing amiibo wall. Hey, Tim.
Sup? It's what is this? Funko Pops that belong to my wife.
That is very well organized. Kudos to her.
You should be ashamed that you called them amiibos. I'm just saying.
Well, that's what I like better. I can't fault my brain for that. I'm sorry. On tonight's show, we'll be giving shout-outs to our favorite YouTubers you may never have heard of and talking about Microsoft's Xbox Live increase and the scandal that caused. I'm so excited to hear what you guys brought for your.
Does somebody else want to go first besides me? I seem like I always go first with everything, and I just thought that maybe Tim or Roy might want to go first, or Matt.
I'll go first. Let me pull up my trusty list. There we go. All right. So my first YouTuber that I picked, he doesn't upload too often, but when he uploads, it's gold. His name is Dev. I'm going to get you his youtube.com/dev4473. He currently has 83,000 subscribers, and he only has 6 videos on his channel, but every single video is absolute gold. And he's one of those YouTubers that say, I'm going to keep uploading, and then he never does. And everyone in his comments are like, you need to keep uploading because all of his videos are absolute gold. Each one's like 20 minutes long, and I know he's going to college for journalism. That was a few years ago, so I don't know what he's doing now, but all his videos are well written and very great technology.
Just for the record, I tried to type in Dex YouTube and I get Samsung Dex, and that's not what you want. So just throwing that out there.
We'll put it in the show notes and everything on all the.
So let me get this straight. The guy only has 6 videos and has how many followers with just 6 videos?
He has 80,000 subscribers.
So here's that is impressive, but here's the thing. So I get a lot of people who say it's hard to upload to YouTube. Like it's hard to make quality videos too. Like, I mean, you can upload and do a show like every day, but to make quality content is hard. To engage with an audience, and to get the word out there. So, it's not easy. And especially if like you're shooting B-roll and then you're shooting A-roll. And for you guys who don't know, B-roll is like the video that shows where you talk over it. It's like product shots and stuff like that. And A-roll is when you're talking into the camera. So, I mean, it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is hard. And then the next channel that I have is Bite My Bits. This one is slightly over. He's at 107,000 subscribers. He does a lot of. Most of his stuff is Plex server videos, and he also does random tech videos. but it's mostly server stuff. He was one of the YouTubers that inspired me to get a Plex server, and fantastic content creator. He does a bunch of other random tech videos. He's just a normal guy that buys stuff, and then if he buys something that he thinks is cool, he'll make a video about it.
Nice.
And he made something as seemingly confusing as a Plex server at least accessible to you enough to the point where you felt like you would go out and do it, which is awesome.
Yeah. He's a great guy. I like him. And then next one I have is Craft Computing. He is another server. There's a trend for me. He's a computer YouTuber is what I'd say. I watched a virtualization video from him. Fantastic. And really good tutorials on how to do stuff. He seems like a really genuine, cool guy when it comes to computer hardware review, and it's another really good creator. Let's see, who else do I have? Epos Vox is another one. He does quite a lot of different. He does a lot of like streaming videos where he talks about how to, when live streaming, the best way to, like, best settings to have. He does hardware review. He did also a bunch of Plex videos as well on how to properly transcode video over Plex. How many subscribers does he have? 273,000 subscribers. He's great. Another one, Snazzy Lab. He's a little bit larger. I think he's around 800,000 subscribers. He does fantastic product reviews. He did one video where he talked about the iMac Pro that he bought, and he got it with a VESA mount, and because this was the iMac Pro where you could add, because normally when you buy an iMac you have to check out if you want to put a VESA mount on it or not. You can't choose between the stand and the VESA mount, and this was the first one where it's a removable VESA mount, and he got it, and he had a nightmare of a time because the VESA mount is a third-party mount, and Apple support was like, well, it's not, we don't handle that, it's third-party, even though it's an official VESA mount from Apple.
Which is all supposed to be like standard and stuff.
Yeah, and then he took it to the Apple store. They took 2 weeks to look at it, and then he got it back, and it was all cracked, and he did a really good job on that video, just talking about it. And of course Apple fixed it for him, but
of course, because that's what Apple does.
But he was also like, would they have done this for anyone, or would they just because I was a YouTuber, because he did a video already about it, and that's when it got fixed. But he doesn't play fanboys or anything like that. He's a really good YouTuber. Let me move on to the next one.
Definitely sounds worth checking out.
Yeah. And then next one is Network Chuck. I've brought him up before on the podcast. He does, surprise, networking videos. He talks about pretty much information he got me, I want to say he's one of the people that inspired me to get into IT a lot. His videos are very, very, very good for anyone that's interested in getting into IT or any kind of networking field. He does just videos talking about how to study for Network Plus. He also did a lot of really good videos about routers, as boring as they might seem. He makes it very interesting and worth checking out if you're interested in computer networking.
I'm looking at his videos right now. They're all really good quality, and he has a fantastic beard.
I love his beard. And he also loves coffee, and he makes his own coffee now. He has his own coffee store that sells his coffee brand. And then also what was I going to say? I completely lost my train of thought about him. He has a lot of really good videos. He did the hacking videos. He did the one, he took a Raspberry Pi and showed why it's important to have a VPN on when you're connected to a coffee shop Wi-Fi, because he demonstrated, he had his wife connect to his network which was like it was just Starbucks, and using a Raspberry Pi, he made his own network that was Starbucks Wi-Fi, and people, his wife connected to it, and he was able to see everything she was doing. Pretty much explained exactly why you should have a VPN when you go to a pretty much anywhere that has a public network.
Anywhere not home,
yeah.
anywhere where anyone could log in. With
And this would be a perfect time for a sponsor for a VPN service. If anybody's out there that wants to sponsor it.
The OnePlus Nord VPN.
And then
the Nord 10. Yeah, the Nord 10 VPN.
Nord 10 plus VPN.
Oh, right. Can't forget the plus upgrade.
And then the last YouTuber I'm going to shout out, he's a big YouTuber. He probably doesn't deserve a shout out, but Linus Tech Tips, fantastic crew, fantastic videos. I've met him multiple times. Fantastic individual. Great. Every video, they started off in a garage and now has a giant company. Fantastic creator.
And he runs or used to run a convention.
Yes, he did. And then actually something that he did was there was a service called Vessel that came out. I don't remember what year it came out, but it was basically a YouTube, I don't want to say competitor. It was almost like a Patreon competitor to where you could pay $5 and go to this website to watch their videos instead of going to YouTube, and they would upload their videos a couple weeks early. It was a way to get early access to some of their videos, but Vessel shut down, and so he created his own called Floatplane. And the saying was Floatplane because if you can't fly, then you can't sink. So so he does that. They have that now, which they actually have a bunch of content creators on there as well, where you can pay $5 and they have their own video player. They built their own website from the ground up, and it's they've done a lot of really cool things, especially for the tech community on YouTube. I think they've done a lot. Nice. But yeah, those are pretty much who I watch on YouTube. Those are my big creators that I watch.
All right. I will share mine in that case. Thank you, Tim. Mine, I have two. One is the Design Theory channel. It's just called Design Theory, and it's run by a man named John Moriello. He's an industrial designer and professor of industrial design at California College of the Arts. He's done work for some of the biggest brands in the world, like Amazon, Logitech, Motorola, Qualcomm, Kohler, though I don't think he designed that like $15,000 tub, but he has awesome design sensibilities, so I wouldn't be surprised. The channel just focuses on like understanding and teaching the principles of great industrial design, and he covers like product analysis. He has a couple of videos explaining and discussing like VR product design. He did one video where he included the iPod in a discussion about like iconic timeless design, and he also talks about design principles and design language. And so if you're interested in just design related topics about tech, it's the Design Theory channel. It's very, very interesting.
I'll have to check it out.
The second one is Gamers Nexus, which is a rather big channel. They have 1 million plus subscribers, but it's run by a guy named Steve Burke. He's a really in-depth hardware reviewer. He focuses a lot on like heat-efficient cases. He does video game benchmarks. He does component analysis, and he does news that relates to the PC industry. One of the news segments that he did, I think it was yesterday, he talked about how Ford, Nissan, and a bunch of other car manufacturers, like global ones, are having to slow down or stop their production because of a lack of components that are the same components that the PC industry uses. So while we were going through our slowdown with like graphics cards and motherboards and RAM and all that stuff was really hard to find and really scarce, so it seems like the car manufacturers were taking a hit too. Both of those channels, great if you're looking to build a PC or just interested more in just anything PC hardware related, then definitely check out Gamers Nexus. Guy is very awesome.
Nice. I'll go next. So I have a few of them here. So first one is Zolotech. This is a guy who makes a lot of videos on Apple betas and software betas that come out from Apple. Very cool, very in-depth, shows all the new features and everything and stuff like that. So very cool if you're into betas and new hardware and stuff from Apple. You should check out Zolotech on YouTube. Another one that I look at a lot is Bright Sun Films. This is a lot of documentary, like custom documentaries and stuff like that. He does a series called Abandon that I really like, and it's basically about abandoned companies and stuff like that kind of go under. So he's out of Canada, I believe. So he does a lot of them out of Canada. He did one on Sears. He did one on Target from Canada because Target eventually sold off all their stores in Canada to another retailer that I believe also went under. But very good researcher. Does a lot of research into his video and puts a lot of quality video content out there. So you should definitely check him out. Bright Sun Films. Erica Griffin. She, I believe, is a local. Something tells me that she was local. She tweeted something or something like that, I believe. So she's around the Seattle metro area, I believe. But she is, her channel is called Erica, the technology nerd who likes to film things. And I just like to watch her stuff because she's very creative in how she films things. She does a lot of new products like Apple products and stuff like that. But she did a really in-depth video of a new TV that she bought. It's an 85-inch TV. And she titled it, "We Fit a Huge 85-inch TV in a Tiny Apartment." And it was really interesting. So it's definitely a video you should watch. She's a really cool person. Does a lot of good in-depth stuff. And then the last one that I have on my list, and I'm not sure how I pronounce this last name, Christopher, and then it's Lawley. So Lolly, I want to say maybe. But anyways, Christopher is a tech guy who is basically uses his iPad for everything. Up until like a couple weeks ago, he had done all his video. I think he still does all his video editings on it, but he never had a PC or a Mac.
I was super impressed by this guy.
Did you watch some of his videos?
I watched some of his videos. Yeah, it's like the shortcuts and the level of customization that he goes.
Oh my god,
it's crazy.
He is a shortcut master at the way he does things. And he goes very in depth, and he edits all his videos on an iPad, which is just awesome. So I definitely think you should check out Christopher. He is I think he said he just quit his full-time job to become a full-time YouTuber. Nice. And he did buy an M1 Mac, and he has a Windows PC that he uses as a file server, I think, or something. But those are just kind of recently purchases. He still plans to use his iPad as his full-time, device and everything and stuff like that. But he's a very cool YouTuber, and you guys should definitely check him out. So
Yeah, if not to just be surprised by the amount of things that you can do on an iPad that you might not expect. Like,
oh my God, I had no idea, and he used to do this before there was mouse support, and I'm like, that is dedication. Like, I try to do things on my iPad, and I'm like, no. I throw it away. I get my MacBook out and I do it on my MacBook. Like, the fact that he has gotten so good at editing on an iPad and doing all of his workflow on an iPad is like really truly incredible. And I wish that Apple would highlight him, perhaps at a developer conference or in some way, at a product launch, to show how he uses an iPad, because he's literally proved that you can replace your PC or your MacBook with an iPad in some cases, depending on how much you do on your workflow. But
well, maybe if iPad sales start to dip, they'll bring him in and be like, "Look, but you can do all of this stuff on the iPad."
Everybody's brains will explode.
Like, it's just incredible channel. So check them out. I have one more on my list, but I'll save it because it's Roy's, one of his picks, and I don't want to take away from him. But he is a really cool person of mine. So
with that, I'll lead off with him then. Travis MCP is one of the YouTubers I watch on a weekly basis. He brings out videos about once a week. He does a live stream, usually on the weekends. He's local to our greater Seattle area, which is really cool, supporting local content creators. He used to be a huge Android user, but he switched over to iOS with the 11 Pro Max. And so being able
he's got a 12 Pro now too, I think. So
I think he actually returned the 12 Pro because he was having camera issues with it or something. There was some weird camera glitch that he was having with it. I'm not sure if he got it replaced or not.
I thought he got it replaced. I'll have to go back and catch up on him. I'm kind of behind on my YouTubes, but
he also did this series, and I think he's bringing it back, where he would go on Amazon and buy Amazon renewed phones. So like basically Amazon's refurbished version of the phone. So he'd go buy like the Galaxy S10 renewed, and then he'd basically be like, hey, here's my renewed series. Here's my review on it. Here's where you can get a phone for, X amount of money, and it's a pretty decent phone, or it's a bad phone, don't buy it. Kind of a decent concept that not anybody's doing out there, as revisiting older phones in more modern times to see how they might stack up and whether or not they're worth the money. Is pretty cool. He also does all of his editing on his iPad, which is one of the things that he highlights when he switched over to iOS, is being able to basically airdrop everything back and forth. Has been pretty cool. Check him out. Like I said, he's local to our area. He puts out
What's
YouTube,
his name? Did you put out his name?
Travis MCP is his name. In let's see, how many followers does he have? I know I have that up here. Just
87.2K thousand subscribers.
Yeah, so I mean, not necessarily a small amount, but he's definitely not one of the bigger YouTubers out there. He has a decent sense of humor. Does a good job.
I love his sense of humor. I love his sense of humor. He's awesome. So. Yeah.
Anything else since we're talking about him? Anything else?
I think you covered everything. I would just say that I think his reviews are honest, and he gives his honest opinion. Sometimes with people who get free devices and stuff like that from Apple, which I think he said in his videos that he doesn't. He goes out and buys them. But he gives his honest review and his honest feedback about it. And I think that's one of the things that you can take from Travis. So, that's all I really have to say about it. But definitely check him out.
Yeah, I want to say he ended up, I can't remember if it was the Note 20 or the Note 10. He accidentally bought like 4 of them because of the way the launch went. So, I mean, he definitely does buy his own devices.
Which a lot of people don't do, like a lot of these top YouTubers, your average consumer, those people, they all get shipments from Apple, like days before, right after the launch, and days before it gets into the public, so that they get they get videos out there. But I really do like people who get, spend their own money on the devices, even though it costs them money. But the fact that they do that, and then
it just adds a little bit more credibility to them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
He also just throwing this out there. He also is a subscriber to T-Mobile, and I know that because he had gotten the OnePlus 7 Pro when that came out, which was an exclusive to T-Mobile at the time phone. So if you watch his channel, you'll be able to discern that he's a T-Mobile user. Tying that into our earlier carrier conversation we had.
Nice.
Another YouTuber that I watch quite frequently, it's Techspert is the name of the channel. He's got 455,000 subscribers. He's out of the UK, so if you're watching content videos from him and he's talking about devices that may have more region-specific features, they may not be here in the US, but he's got a fantastic sense of humor. He puts in some work on his videos and his reviews. He does review quite a bit. So if there's a phone that you're interested in, for instance, chances are he has done a review on it. He does comparisons. He is a huge fan of anime. All of his wallpapers are anime. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, probably one of the more humorous reviewers that I've watched. I get a kick out of his videos. I definitely recommend checking him out. And finally, the last YouTuber that I watch on a regular basis, I'm not sure what his name is, but the website or the channel name is Mobile Reviews A. He's out of Canada, so that's where the A thing goes. And he almost solely reviews Apple product accessories like cases and whatnot. Apple Watch bands, accessories.
He has like a video titled "The Best Laptop Bags." I like that.
He's got his little dog Monty that is usually in his reviews. His wife has been in a lot of his reviews lately, mainly I'm guessing because of COVID lockdown. And he's been putting out a lot more content because of COVID. Because who's doing what right now to begin with? But none of his videos are sponsored. He buys everything himself. So he tries to push his affiliate Amazon links, sponsor code, not sponsor, but like his affiliate link. He pushes his affiliate link, so like his Amazon whatever. So he straight up says, "Hey, I didn't buy any of this stuff, or I wasn't sent any of this stuff. I bought it all myself. I spent all this money on these 17 different cases to show you which ones were the slim, the most protective, the best." Whatever categories he talks about in some of his compilation videos. And if there's a case you like, stay on my Amazon, buy it off my link. That way I get a little bit of kickback. That's kind of the only way that he gets revenue for his videos. And if you watch his videos, he drops a lot of money. I mean, he's broken iPhones to test cases, because he'll sit there and he will what was it? He got a Rhino Shield screen protector, and he dropped metal balls from different heights until it broke. And one of it never broke the screen, but it bent his iPhone. Like the force of the impact was so strong, but the screen protector was so good that it didn't break, but it bent his iPhone. Like it left this impact dent in the form of the phone. But he'll drop his phones off of ladders. He'll when the iPhone 12 line came out, he tested just how much stronger the glass was. So he broke a couple iPhones just testing how much stronger that glass was, so that if somebody out here in YouTube land wanted to know how strong it was, we had a better idea how strong it was. He's also got a decent sense of humor, which if you can't tell, I enjoy my videos. I need YouTube creators to have a good sense of humor.
I can kind of tell he has a good sense of humor, because there's another video that I see that says the best place to mount your smartphone in your car, and it's just like every conceivable, in the thumbnail, it's just like every conceivable open space is a dock with a phone in it. It's great.
That sounds about right. I definitely have not watched all of his videos, but usually when he puts out a new video, I'll watch it. Like I said, he compares, he'll compare different Apple products, he'll compare different Apple accessories. So if you use Apple devices, it's worth checking out his videos and his reviews. Yeah, that's those are the three that I watch on a regular basis without getting into like super big name tech tubers that don't need us to talk about them at all because they're doing just fine without us. We all know who we're talking about.
Yes, we do. The ones that get the free devices every Apple product launch day. Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I just wanted to mention this, and it's kind of out of it because it's he's a lot more. But did anybody ever watch Roman Atwood and do his pranks and stuff like that?
A little
ring a bell.
So the name rings a bell.
Yeah, so I used to watch him back in the day. He used to do a lot of pranks. He switched over to doing vlogs with his family and stuff like that. But he released a video explaining why he disappeared from YouTube. And I just think that it's not that we're stalkers or anything, but we don't want to stalk anybody. But he was eventually explaining how he and his family have put out videos, and stuff like that for years, and they have been getting stalked multiple times by different people. One of them called in a bomb threat to a funeral that they were having because they knew they were at a funeral. They called and canceled his auto insurance. They changed their phone numbers so that they couldn't get harassed by them anymore. And the news people texted them and said, you think you can just change your phone number or something like that? But anyways, he released a video explaining why he and his family disappeared from YouTube for almost half of 2021. But they were forced out of their house. They were forced out of YouTube and stuff like that. So, it takes a lot of work for people to go out there and put themselves out there on YouTube and stuff like that. And it's just important to note that these people have family lives, and stuff like that. And I mean, I've seen YouTubers out in real life. Chris Perillo is a really good popular YouTuber around here. He lives in Issaquah, I believe, or somewhere in the East Side area. I've seen him out in public. He's not very tall, but I've seen them out there and stuff like that. So, I just wanted to say, if you see some of your YouTubers out there that you watch on a daily basis, just be respectful to them, and know that they have lives and they don't really necessarily, want to be bugged every time and everything. But, I've seen Chris out a few times. He does a lot of thrift shopping, and I used to go over that way sometimes. And, I saw him out there a few times. So just be respectful to people.
There was one YouTuber. He's a Seattle YouTuber. I'm trying to remember what his name is.
Barnacle?
No, not Barnacles. It was Billy the Fridge. So he's a rapper. Yeah, no one should have. He's a rapper, but he's not. He's a rapper pretty much. And I was at the Cinnabar one night watching a movie, and as I was leaving, he was in the lobby, and I saw him, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Billy the Fridge. And so then I didn't say anything to him because I don't want to be creepy, and I got in the car and drove away. And then I tweeted at him like, were you at the Cinnabar? And he responded, he's like, yes. Like, oh, okay. But
yes, how did you know?
How did you know that? So I just wanted to put out a disclaimer out there because I know some of these YouTubers out there put themselves out there and they get harassed sometimes, and I think it's just a good time to note that they have lives and are entitled to privacy too sometimes. I will say I was really I saw the former CEO of T-Mobile at Bellevue Square.
Which former CEO?
John Ledger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was wearing you can't miss him. He's wearing all T-Mobile. I think he was wearing the T-Mobile jersey at the time. And I really wanted to go up and take a selfie with him and ask him for a selfie, but I didn't because I was trying to be respectful, of him. I think he was there with somebody, but anyways, just remember that they have lives and stuff like that. If they do meetups and stuff like that, I think that's the place to engage with them and stuff like that. So,
have any of you ever heard of Bernie Burns?
Mm-mm.
So he is the founder of Rooster Teeth. He was the one that created Red versus Blue, the web series. And I was at PAX one year, and he wasn't there. And as I was walking the sky bridge, there was this guy standing by the window with a camera, had the exact same hair as Bernie. And I was like, I think that's Bernie Burns. But I quickly went off to the side and I grabbed my phone and went onto his Twitter. He didn't say anything about being in Seattle. So I'm like, I don't think that's him. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's his hair, though. No one has that hair. And so I kept kind of watching. And then soon he turned his face. So I saw half of his face. And I'm like, that is him. And I went over. It was him. I got to take a picture of it. It was very nice. I felt bad because after I caught him, a lineup of people started forming. And it was it was a long line. Yeah. And so I felt bad.
Way to go, Tim.
I know.
I live on Bainbridge Island, and I can't remember her name now, but there's a few celebrities that live over here, and one of them is Sex and the City. One of the Sex and the City stars. Her is married to a woman, and her family lives over here. I don't remember who it is, but I remember being on the ferry one day, and she was just sitting there. I was sitting there and didn't know who she was and anything. And then all of a sudden, all these people came up with phones and everything, and were taking pictures right behind me. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And then I figured out who she was because I just overheard people talking, and then somebody finally went up and she was just trying to watch her Netflix on the ferry, and somebody came up and wanted to say, oh, you're such an inspiration to me and all that, and stuff like that. So and then there became a big line and everything and stuff like that. But yeah, so and then what is it, so I can't remember what her name is now, but the lady who plays Mrs. Claus in Santa Claus with Tim Allen also lives on Bainbridge Island. I used to see her at the grocery store all the time, and when I used to pass her at the grocery store, I always said, Merry Christmas, Mrs. Claus, or whatnot. And I didn't say anything else but that, and she would smile or whatnot, or yeah. So anyways, just be respectful. That's just my PSA when you're out there,
I wish more people, including large companies, would take that advice, because some of them are out here not being respectful to their customers and their loyal fans. Does that ring a bell with anybody?
Mm.
It reminds me of Microsoft.
Oh, yeah. That was a good segue. I was like, what? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, we were going to talk about this.
That was fantastic.
So I only heard about this today. I'm probably not the best person to explain what's going on. Would anyone else like to fill in the details?
Yeah.
Even our resident Microsoft expert can.
Yeah, right there. Tim.
Go look up Tim.
No, I'm in the worst spot for Microsoft. Microsoft, I still love you. But basically, Microsoft they announced that they were going to be raising the prices for Xbox Live subscriptions. So an Xbox Live subscription, I believe, originally cost, I'm trying to find up the pricing for it.
$60.
Okay, yeah. So it was $10 for 1 month, $24.99 for 3 months, $39.99 for 6 months, and $60 for 12 months. That's what it has been for years. But Microsoft announced that they were going to be raising the price, and it would have been equivalent to $120 a year for Xbox Live, which there was a lot of backlash against Microsoft for doing that.
And they kind of tried to do it in a shady way, right? Like they eliminated the yearly subscription.
Yes, they took away the yearly subscription, and I don't know how long it was like the replacement was going to be. If it was going to be, I think it was going to be like
I think it was 3 or 6 months.
Yeah, something like that. But they tried doing that, and of course there was a ton of backlash, and Microsoft reverted all those changes, and they apologized on all their social media. And from what it looks like, most people, there's a lot of forgiveness to Microsoft. They admitted that they made a mistake. Like Phil Spencer said, we had a bad day today. And there was a ton of reverted everything.
They came out and said essentially, we did it wrong. You guys corrected us. You guys told us what was right, and we apologized. And then they also allowed you to play, will allow you to play gaming. You'll be able to play free to play games versus each other without having to have the cloud service.
Yeah. So like normally you have to have an Xbox Live subscription in order to play
live gameplay. Yeah. To play gameplay against other people. And essentially they didn't give a timeline on when it would be, but they did say that it would be soon as possible. Which I think was a good quotes, as soon as possible. We'll see if it happens within the next year or so. But it was good that they came out and said it's right. And it reminded me of Apple one year when Apple obviously did maps wrong. Apple Maps came out, replaced Google Maps. Google Maps was completely off the iPhone and didn't have I think it was like a couple months after Apple Maps came out. But the Apple essentially came out with a letter from the CEO, Tim Cook, on the front of the homepage saying, we did wrong, and we apologize. And that's exactly what Microsoft did. And props for them for, listening to their people and saying, I'm sorry. It's hard to do that as a business, especially the business with the size of Xbox and Microsoft. But I will say, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this was more of a push to get them to move to the subscription service, right?
Absolutely.
Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass. So I think that's what their ultimate things for the price hike was to get people to move to the subscription-based game service.
So you're saying that like Game Pass is really expensive. It's up here, and Xbox Live Gold was kind of way down here. But then they're like, hey, we'll increase the cost of this.
I think Game Pass is $14.99 a month or something like that. So they kind of wanted to push more people towards that, get more people off of Xbox Live, and move them into Game Pass, and that's what the ultimate price hike was for. But obviously, it was a bad choice. And with the amount of backlash that they had, they sure did come out pretty quickly and say, we're sorry, there'll be no price hike.
I'm happy Microsoft changed they were very quick to respond, changing their policy. This is definitely not the first time they have ever had to change something so quickly. We were talking about this in a little bit before the controversy in 2013. 2013, the Xbox 360 was just finishing its life cycle, and Microsoft was getting ready to announce the Xbox One. Of course, with them being, they did really well with the 360. So they were on top of the world. They were very, very proud about what they did. And so they thought they could do anything. And so there were rumors that Microsoft was going to be doing something with used games on the Xbox One on their next gen console, and then they announced it, and there were all these rules to where you couldn't do used games, you couldn't sell used games. It was
I was working at GameStop at the time, and the concept back then, because nobody was sure, because Microsoft just said, hey, this is probably what we're going to be moving towards, like every game has its own key. And so GameStop, if you want to resell our games, there has to be like a server in the cloud that all used retailers have access to. And when you sell someone a used game, that game has to like get a key off of the cloud and somehow attach to the game that you've sold. And then you take that to your console, which back then Microsoft was trying to make the Xbox One and only online console. So these discs were, I don't even remember what the discs were. Like, were they just discs that you put in to, okay, so they were discs that you put in, you connected to the internet, got authenticated, and then you
downloaded the game the game. Essentially what it was is they were taking basically what they do with Windows and merging it into a video game. You had to have a subscription code or a key code in order to do it, because that's what a lot of you do with when you put Windows 10 or you put software on your computer. Usually you get a download, and you download it from the internet. And essentially, I think with older versions of Windows, you did the same thing. You put it in there and then connected to the internet, and it downloaded all the updates and gave you the most recent version. And I think that's essentially what they were trying to do with Xbox. I do remember part of it now.
Yeah, and Microsoft, they also said you would have to plug your Xbox One in every 24 hours to authenticate, otherwise the console wouldn't work. So there was a lot of backlash, and a lot of people were questioning it. And there was an interview with Jeff Keighley, and at the time, Xbox president, what was his name? Don Matrick. And they did an interview and someone asked, or Jeff Keighley asked Don, what did he ask? It was like, what do you have to say to people who don't have internet, who can't authenticate? And he said, we have a product for people who can't get an internet connection. It's called the Xbox 360. And he was like, so stick with 360. He's like, well, if you don't have internet, that's an offline console. So
that's really bad.
And he said that, and then someone asked, because some fans are in the military and serve. Someone was on a submarine, on a submarine, and he was like, I imagine you can't get internet, but you can get a 360. Like, it was bad. It was really bad. And so they immediately reverted the changes, and Don Matrick, of course, stepped down as president, and then Phil Spencer stepped up as president at the time. And I felt really bad for Major Nelson, because his job, he's the face of Xbox, and so he had to defend everything that was going on. And
I mean, everyone was at the time. Like, I remember even Major Nelson was still on the Xbox One bandwagon. He was like, they're not going to change anything. Like, they're really proud of everything they've done.
There's a really good interview with, I wouldn't say really good, but there's an interview with what's his name? Is it Angry Joe? Angry Joe did an interview with Major Nelson, and it's a 10-minute long interview, and it's an absolute train wreck of an interview, because Angry Joe asked Major Nelson, well, you can revert these changes, and then Major Nelson grabbed the microphone from Joe and said, oh, do you work for the Xbox development team? And he's like, well, you can revert these changes, and Major Nelson was like, no, you can't. And then a week later, there was an article posted that Microsoft reverted all the changes.
Somehow it was possible.
Yeah.
So they obviously did it a lot quicker now than they did in 20 in 2012 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Obviously they didn't want to take that backlash off of it. So
and they promised something that probably doesn't even make a lot of sense for them, because if you had to previously play free-to-play games with Xbox Live, there's probably some kind of integration with these games and Xbox Live that they'll have to either figure out how to remove on like a game-by-game basis, or create some kind of new process so that games can bypass the Xbox Live infrastructure but still have access to it without people paying for it. So I'm very interested to see how that goes for them.
I remember
Yeah,
when you had to pay for Xbox Live to be able to watch Netflix.
Oh, fun times.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. I was like, "What? I can get Netflix for free, but I got to pay, or I can get a Netflix app for free on certain players, and I got to pay
That was
for it."
one of the points of getting a PlayStation 3 over an Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm. There was an instructional video that someone at PlayStation did. I forgot, or it was some. Anyways, there was a video where like someone was like, "This is how you share games on a PS4," and then someone just like hands someone else a game, and then that was it. It was like super easy.
Sony had the best. So if you watch the E3 of Sony's press conference, towards the very end, Sony like went in on Microsoft. They said PlayStation won't require you to authenticate every 24 hours. And the entire room erupted with cheering. And then they also said you can, when you buy a game for the PlayStation 4, you can do whatever you want with it. You can sell it, you can lend it to a friend, and everyone starts cheering again. And then at the very end, they announced the pricing, and it was $100 cheaper than the Xbox One, and then everyone was cheering. It's a beautiful, beautiful video.
And the PlayStation 4 lived well for all of its days.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks, guys. I feel like we're all in a similar boat with the Microsoft decision. Gave some good shout outs to a lot of YouTubers. Was there anything else you guys wanted to mention or throw in?
I don't think so. We didn't talk about Roy downgrading.
No. Don't be jealous.
I have to ask? Did Travis do a video on downgrading from the Pixel 4 to the Pixel 5? So for you guys who don't know, Roy had a Pixel 4 XL, and he recently we talk on a daily basis offline, and he had expressed interest in wanting to get a Pixel 5, and you guys all know how I feel about the Pixel 5, but Roy tweeted off his home screen, and then he had the 5G logo on the top, and I called him out on it, not online, but I called him out in the text message thread, and then he finally broke down and admitted that he bought a Pixel 5. And I said, so it's a downgrade. You downgraded from the Pixel 4 XL to a Pixel.
When we meet up this weekend.
Sure, but I'm telling you, my thoughts are going to be the same. We'll come back on Monday after we meet up this weekend for our socially distanced video review process. But my thoughts will still be the same on it.
Will we get a water test?
Yeah, are you going to dunk it in water?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Okay, next Monday, bring a bucket of water.
All right. Before he changes his mind, thank you all for joining us on this episode of the Gooply Cast. You'll be able to find our replays on YouTube and the podcast version of our episodes on all of your favorite podcasting apps, including iHeartRadio. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook for updates on the podcast and to be notified of our video reviews and dunk tests. I've been your host, Matt Carter. For Matt, Roy, and Tim, thank you so much for for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Gooplycast.
Thanks for listening to the Gooplycast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate our podcast. Visit us on social media at Gooply. And remember, you can stream the Gooplycast on your favorite podcasting app or gooply.com.